Good morning, children. We actually started the first chapter of chemistry. Is matter in our surroundings. It is not there in our syllabus this year, so please you avoid that. We will start the second chapter. In that also some contents are there, which I will explain one by one slowly. So your second chapter is that becomes first chapter is matter around us pure. Understand basic terms so that it will be easier to understand further chapter. Okay, so some terms which you have to learn here, I will tell it. So we have to know actually what is solution, what is a mixture, and you are studying about the separation of different components from any mixture. So these main concept you are learning here. Okay. So basically we will try to know what is solution. Then we will go for, actually there is a concept called solution, suspension and colloids. Those three are completely not there for you. Only we are having some chapters like separation of mixtures, it is there. And what are their uses, it is there. Okay. So that detail will be shared with you later. So first of all we will try to find in generally what is solution. Then we will go concentration, different terms we are using. So solution is a mixture of a solute and a solvent. Solution is a mixture of solute. So in general, solute will be usually solid part. Solid part, and its concentration will be very less, its percentage will be less, and solvent will be in large number, large quantity. Solvent will be large quantity. So generally it will be liquid part. So liquid part can be called as solute, and solid part can be called, liquid part can be called as solvent, and solid part is called as solute. It is more in number. Okay, these are the terms you are understanding. Then again there is one more word called mixture. So here what is a mixture actually? Two or more substances, when you mix in a particular proportion or particular proportion by mass is called mixture. So in this mixture we have two types. One is homogeneous mixture, and one more is heterogeneous mixture. Okay. So I will give one nice example. Homogeneous mixture, for example, like sugar and water. Sugar and water. So this becomes homogeneous, means where you cannot find the separation layers. You cannot find whether where is sugar or where is other particles in the homogeneous mixture. And heterogeneous mixture, where we can find separation of layers. For example, we take water and sand. Water and sand. So this is for homogeneous mixture, this is for heterogeneous mixture. Actually homo means same. Homo means same, hetero means different. I hope you understand. First you know what is solution, then you should know what is solute, what is solvent, then what is a mixture, and what are the types of mixture. So this is a basic. When you understand this only, you will go for further chapter. So we have one more word called concentration. When you say concentration, to understand you have to perform a simple activity. Very simple activity. Okay. We are taking 2 beakers. 2 beakers you take. Okay. Beaker 1, beaker 2. Okay. So before starting experiment, we'll try to know actually in general what is concentration. See, the amount of solute present in a solvent means the amount of solute present in a solution will indicate the solution. See, when you add, see, suppose sugar and water, if you take, what we do? We take sugar, we add water, we take water, we add sugar, where we add sugar, and sometimes what happens, no more sugar can be added to that water, means sugar dissolves, again sugar dissolves, again sugar dissolves, after some time it will not dissolve. So that becomes concentrated sugar solution. Like that way, there is one, this is also called concentrated, or one more is strong or high resistor. Okay. Concentrated solution, and there is one more technical term called dilute solution. Dilute is where there is possibility of adding sugar in water. Still there is possibility. Okay. So concentration, or is one more word called saturation. Saturation or concentration. Okay. So these are two technical terms are comparable to each other. Concentrated solution, dilute solution. Okay. Then we will try to find one simple, from this simple experiment. See, in beaker 1 we will take water. Okay. Beaker 2 also we will take water here. Both beaker we are taking water here. Okay. In beaker 1 we add sugar. Sugar is added. Here we add barium chloride. Barium chloride. We add here. Okay. This is normal water. What we do here? We add. Again we add. Sugar we add. Here also we add barium chloride, once here, once in. We will leave it. Then after some time what we will do? We'll there actually the sugar will not dissolve. Stage comes where the sugar cannot be added, or here barium chloride cannot be added, because that becomes, see, actually sugar particles will go and take the shape of the, in between the particles there is shape, there is a space. So that space is occupied by sugar particle. That's why it will not dissolve after a particular time. Same case is in the case of barium chloride. Again what we do here? We heat the both solutions, both sugar solution, barium chloride solution, we heat it. When you heat it, again when you start adding sugar, this can be added. For a while this can be added. Okay. So where no more sugar or salt or barium chloride can be added becomes concentrated solution, and increase in temperature will increases the solubility. What is solubility? The ability of any substance which is having ability to dissolve any substance in it is called its solubility. Okay. So solubility increases only when you increase the temperature of any matter. So in this way, this is simple experiment where we can add, or we can add by the temperature. Okay. Then, so what is definition for concentrated or saturated solution or unsaturated? Concentrated solution. Okay. A solution in which no more sugar or salt can be added to a particular solution is called concentrated. So these are also called saturated solution. Saturated solution. In this part, we cannot add more sugar or more salt, more sugar or salt after a particular while. So this becomes concentrated. Then dilute means what? we can call it as unsaturated. Means where still it is able, we are able to add any solute to the solvent, any solute to the solution. We are able to add. For example, here you can add sugar to water. Here you can't add because already it has become concentrated. But in this case, where still we are able to add sugar to water or salt to water is called unsaturated solution. So concentration is defined based on the mass of any substance, volume of any substance. There is one formula for concentration. Concentration of a solution. Suppose in case of mass of solution, mass of solute we can take, and here mass percentage of solution. Okay. Again, this you can convert in the form of what? Volume also. Here again we take volume of solute by volume percentage of solution. Okay. This is a formula to find what is the concentration of any solution. Okay. One example is there in textbook. We will try to solve it. Children, we will try to solve one problem from the textbook only, page number 17. A solution contains 40 gram of common salt. There is a solution which contains 40 gram of common salt in 320 gram of water. Okay. So this solution contains what? 40 gram of common salt, NaCl. Okay. So this complete water is how many grams? 320 gram. 320 gram water. Means in 320 gram there is 40 gram of water. Okay. Calculate the concentration in terms of mass by mass. We have to calculate mass percentage of the solution. Mass percentage of the solution. Okay. So in this part I have already 40 gram of salt. So this is a what? Solute. Okay. So water is used as solvent. Water is a solvent. Okay. Now we will try to find concentration of solution. Okay. So firstly we should write mass of the solute. How much mass is given? 40 gram. Okay. Then this actual solid is solid part. So this is salt. Okay. Then mass of solvent. Solvent is water. You know very well water is called universal solvent. 320 gram content. Only G content. 320 gram. Okay. Then what is solution? You know solution is a mixture of solute and a solvent. So therefore mass of solution is equal to mass of solute plus mass of solvent. Okay. Mass of solute plus mass of solvent. So what is solute? Mass of solute here? 40 gram plus 320 gram. So this becomes 360 gram. Okay. Now to find a percentage, I think we have to multiply with 100. Very simple concept which you have to keep in mind. Mass mass percentage of solution is mass of solute by mass of solution. This one already we have found. Mass of solution into 100. So mass of solid is 40 gram by 360 gram into 100. So here 0 0 get cancel. Okay. If you want, you can multiply, divide here. 2 18s are 2 50s are 2 9s are. Okay. So if you want, you can add here 4 multiply 450 by 9. So mass percentage of solution is mass percentage of solution is equal to mass of solute by mass of solution into 100. So mass of solute already we know 40. So mass of solution is 360 into 100. Okay. So you can cancel 0 0. 4 ones are 4 9s are. So again there is 100 by 9. 100 by 9. 9 ones are 9. 1 remains. Again 0 comes down. Again 9 ones are 9. 1 remains. 8.0. 9 ones are 9. It goes on, continuous. So it is 11.1%. Okay. You can write, therefore, mass percentage of solution is 11.1%. You can write and add in it, keep in it. So this is how we are able to find mass percentage of any solution, or the same way we can find mass volume percentage also you can find. Okay, these are the concept about regarding finding the concentration or dilution of the substance. Okay, so next we will go to one more concept I told already initially about mixture. I told mixture. Okay. So today, now we will try to find what are the methods of separation mixtures. But why we should separate? See, components of a mixture. Okay. See, in nature there are many substances which are mostly in impure form, or sometimes they are in pure form. Okay, but there are some substances. See, these substances can be easily removed. For example, hand picking is a simple method. Simple physical method is hand picking. Sieving is there. Filtration is there. They are simple methods. But there are some components where we have to apply different techniques, little highly developed techniques to separate the components of any mixture. So these mixtures, even though they are easily possible to remove, but still we have to use different techniques to remove them. So one example I will give is how can we obtain, see, you know very what is actually ink. Have you seen ink? Ink. Okay. Ink is not a color. Ink is mixture of colors. Ink is mixture of different colors. So that becomes dye. That's why dye is different, ink is different. Dye is nothing, it is mixture of many colors, then it becomes a dye. So that's why what we do is to separate all these colors. Sometimes what happens, there are some solid particles in the ink. So these solid particles, when you remove them, only liquid particles remain, or liquid is evaporated and only solid particles remain on the bottom. For example, we'll perform an experiment like what we do is, we take a beaker, okay, and we take one vase glass. Vase glass we keep over in the, on the what? So here we are heating here we are heating. So direct heating may not be possible because vase glass is very delicate. This may not withstand heat. So to avoid that heat, we are indirectly heating. Means first we heat water here. Okay. So above that, over that we keep vase glass, and over in that we put what? Ink. So this, when you heat here, what happens? When you heat, the water in the beaker will start getting heated. So that water converted into vapor. So due to that vapors, this vase glass will become hot, and the liquid present in the vase glass will evaporate. Only solid, minute solid particle remain. So that, in that way, this simple technique is by separation, means evaporation. By evaporation method, we are able to separate two mixture. One is solid and one is solvent. So this is one technique. Okay. So where we should use here? See, again we have to know technical terms. One is volatile. One is non-volatile. Volatile means what? Volatile is which vaporizes easily. Which vaporize easily. For example, petrol is volatile in nature. Okay. Kerosene, sometimes it is very rarely volatile, slowly it will happen. Kerosene also volatile in nature. But depending on the arrangement of particles, it is highly volatile, least volatile. Okay. And non-volatile is, for example, take diesel. Diesel is non-volatile, okay, which will not mix with air. So like this, here the volatile liquid present in the ink will evaporate quickly, and only non-volatile substance remain in the beaker, this vase glass. In this way we separate the components of ink. Okay. Then one more experiment, what we do here, how we can separate. And I think you know, nowadays we are able to get different products of ice cream is there, fully toned ice cream is there, cream is there, milk is there, toned milk we call, and double toned varieties of milk packet, toned milk packet, different varieties are there. Okay, but how they are made? Okay, so what we do here, these are actually, this milk, especially milk, contains a large quantity of fat in that. So for separation of this fat content, we use a simple technique called centrifugation machine. Okay, so this technique, what we are doing here, we are using to separate the particles based on their densities. Okay, so this centrifuge machine is used to remove the substance, remove substance which are like, see, nowadays in our home also we are using churner, mixture is there. You can separate cream and milk, or we can separate butter from buttermilk. In this way we are able to do this technique. Okay, where they are using this actually, centrifugation techniques are used in laboratories. See, for example, even dairies also we use. Dairies, we want to separate different quantities of fat content in any particular milk, we use that technique. Okay, and in washing machine works on the based on centrifugation machine, where the force is at the center, where it rotates, it makes the cloth to rotate, and where the pressure is concentrated at the center of the part. That's way it rotates. In the same way, this also used in like laboratory techniques. Laboratories where we call blood and urine test laboratories will be there, where in different suppose blood is there or urine is there. In that blood again there are different specific materials are there, eosinophils, these all number count will be there, RBC, WBC all will be there. So based on this technically they are able to find how many counts of RBC is there, WBC is there, plasma is there. These all are used to are found by using the centrifugation machine. Okay, so this is one technique. And one more is how to separate mixture of oil and water. Okay, you know very well, oil plus water we cannot separate. You can mix, but after some time again there are two layers. Upper layer will be water, lower layer will become oil. But what we use here, we use a separating funnel. So this separating funnel will work on the principle of density. Principle of density. Okay. What happens here? Here, suppose this is a funnel, we call separating funnel. Okay. This is a nozzle. So through the nozzle, what we add? We add water, we add oil, and we mix it. And there is a opener here. Okay, knob will be there, knob. Okay. So what we do here? We can take kerosene oil also. Kerosene oil we take and water. So when you mix those both, what happens? Density of water, based on density of water and kerosene, so water will settle at the bottom because of lesser density than kerosene. So kerosene will be at the top. So what we do here? First we remove the water, separating, we remove the water, collect it, and afterwards we remove the kerosene oil, we make it separate. So this technique we are using in industries also. In iron industries, what we do to remove the slag, which is impure and which is lighter in weight, lighter in density, that is removed first. Only the molten iron remains at the top. In that way, we separate this oil and water or molten iron and slag based on the densities. Okay. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.